do the coolant change. That's pretty fucking clean and tidy and not fast. Whoa. It's like, we didn't need to do this, but we have. Hello. How do you do a coolant change? I have Yaris T Sport, first generation.
It's showtime.
You need some fairly big buckets. When the old coolant comes out, it's going to be pretty messy. On this T Sport, the coolant pipe, bottom of the radiator to the right hand side, you need to pull this clip back and then pull the pipe off.
You find out what I'm gonna do.
And then coolant's going to start spewing everywhere. You can only get as much of the old coolant as you can. So if you make a great big mess, don't worry about it. Here we go. What is that tool?
It's a hose clip. So as I squeeze, it holds the clip in place and it locks in place.
Wow.
And then you can release. A lot of people just take pliers to it, and honestly, right tool for the job every time.
Oh, look at that. What's the risks of doing this?
Getting antifreeze in your eyes, breaking a pipe, positioning.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels lovely.
We've got a good vantage point.
Ready?
Yeah.
And as I squeeze, see how it holds the clip?
Yeah, look at that.
I don't have to go up there with a pair of pliers and fight it.
And that's a matter of wiggling
The clip. And I'm just manoeuvring it off. So I've moved the clip away.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm going to let go.
Yeah.
And there we go. I can just kind of stash this device out the way somewhere, and that's that done.
You can kind of see on the rubber pipe as well where the clip was before. Bit of an approximation, I guess.
Okay, so I've just got the tool
Yeah.
up in a wishbone, and that's it. Now we've got to do is pull this pipe off. Water is going to come gushing out. It's going to have lots of antifreeze in it. Blind you. Yeah, wear safety equipment. Yeah, absolutely.
Wear safety.
Sure, grab a bucket then. 3, 2, 1. Out with the coolant, please, my lovey. Right, there go.
There you go.
I just had it with me. Oh, we can. Just long life, it's red. And that's her coolant, so if you want to... Thing what we're looking at here is this coolant's perfect when you look at it. But we didn't know that until we pulled it out, so... It's just going to pee out for a while.
First to
But
leave
that
it.
is... Don't ask for that. It's pointless doing this job. A receptacle for it to go in. One that's good for antifreeze, that's the antifreeze one. 50% antifreeze to coolant is in this car. It's about 50%, you know, so it's half antifreeze, half water. But it's coming out quite nicely. I'm just going to let it do that for a while. Obviously it's starting to dull off now, but that's pretty nice coolant that is. Have we done this before?
No.
We've never done this.
No.
Yeah, so there she goes. Now she's being really sick.
Oh, you're letting all my fluids out.
Isn't it crazy how it just comes gushing out? That little gush there was from your matrix radiator. There you go.
And that is coolant being drained.
Yeah, I'm
Just
going to
like
leave
that.
it for 5-10 minutes. That'll do its thing, so I'm just going to turn the torch off. I'm going to hang it there, so you cannot do anything but bash your head into it. I'll just let her do that for a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
It seems that on the Yaris T Sport, you don't really need to change the coolant that often. Should be like 4 years. You should change the coolant, whether it's like a Benz or a Toyota or a Honda. Now the next stage begins. Right, you need to get the pipe back on that plastic piece.
Hold that for me.
Yeah, lovely. Dad's going to use the tool as before, so it can clip coolant pipe back into place.
So when you struggle pushing something on like this, it happens.
Yeah.
Most people use a screwdriver, don't use a plastic tool.
Very neat tool, that. Very neat tool.
There we go. And that is where it used to live. Out there.
Up there.
So I can feel the end of the plastic pipe here. And this is clamped over it nicely. I just hit the release button on this tool here. And it releases it, and now that's firmly attached.
And that is awesome. Now, deal with the mess. Deal with the mess. Deal with the mess.
One of the tricks that we're going to use is to measure how much we got
Yes.
out of it, is how much we put back in. So in a moment Luke and I are going to measure that to make sure that we put back into the vehicle, or the vehicle at least accepts the same amount of fluid, give or take a few millilitres.
I've got to say, underneath this is very, very tidy. Very tidy. No rust. You got a little bit of surface rust, but it really is just any car will get that over 5 years. You can get a brand new Ford, and the engine port can have rust brand fucking new at the factory, and it was rusted to hell. And we've seen it as well, which is shocking. And brake lines are all plastic piped and to stop these corroding. It's very neat. Get a bit of blue roll.
So the problem is the antifreeze will destroy the paintwork here. So we're going to rinse that off in a second.
With water.
Yeah, with just plain water, which dilute it down. But antifreeze is no good.
And it's so simple. Go to your bloody tap. Just like, you know, guess you could get a hose pipe if you wanted to plug the floor.
Yeah.
You don't have to plug the floor if you wanted to.
I'm going to fill this bucket to just over the first lip with the new antifreeze. I wonder what that is.
It's rad. No. Oh, what's that?
It's a dipper.
It's a dipper.
It's going to
How
tell. It's going to tell us what the deal with the antifreeze is. Okay, so depending on how many little baubles float is the. Well, I put it in here. I squeeze. I let go. It fills up with antifreeze, right? Oops.
What was that?
5.
Oh, look at that.
1,
marking.
2, 3, 4. Did it say 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 of them.
Minus 34. I've lost the end. So here's your new antifreeze.
Yep.
Where's your old antifreeze?
It's in the derrick. Do not put it in the drain or your pipe work.
You can see this is
Or
more of
umbrella.
a pink colour.
Yeah.
So let's dip it and see what we get. We've got 5 baubles. No. 1, 2, 6 baubles. Ooh. One's going. So you're at 5 baubles. What's the one at the bottom?
Not safe.
Not safe.
Not safe.
So
You
it's on
couldn't
its
even
way. So
touch it.
as you can see, the coolant's clearer. It's going to do a fantastic job, and the not safe one's gone to the bottom. So great.
Now to the next part. Look at the juice.
Right, do you want to drop your car on the floor? So we're ready with his coolant. We've kind of measured it out to what it was before. Clear. Luke's going to drop his car onto the ground. He's also just serviced his car, so he's very much aware that there's no oil in the engine. So whilst I'm putting coolant in, Luke's going to be putting oil in. It's a light car. If it was a Defender or something like that, this ramp would go whoo,
Yeah.
real fast.
Little things, if it's worth mentioning, this has a side scan. What rat legs will do on here is if you don't get the pads up high enough,
then this is going to encroach and push into your side skirt. Be careful. When we get the car moving, we're going to go flush this out. So there's expansion tank, radiator cap. So whilst I'm doing coolant, Luke's going to do oil. So we're just putting the coolant in the car now. I guess it's swapping out air for coolant, but there's a gauze in the funnel, so you got to kind of help it. The next stage is that we need to rinse off where the coolant went. So I've just come back from road test. One of the things you want to watch for on a Yaris is the red overheat warning light. I've also got this thermometer, which I'm going to put into one of the air vents. Obviously the heater's on full to hot, and you should watch that move now. Slightly going up, hitting 40 degrees, 45 degrees, and on its way. We're actually waiting for the thermostat to open on the car, so the main cooling fan to kick in. So we've got heat there, which is fantastic. And now I'm going to go and run the car until the cooling fan kicks in and the thermostat's fully open. Not yet. So the whole point of this is to see what the temperature is of this pipe. Getting nice and hot up the top here. I really need that thermostat to open. I'll know when the thermostat opens because our cooling fan's automatically going to kick in. So I need to just generate some more heat. Yep. We want the thermostat to open, right? We want it to blow. There you go, 65 and 65, both sides, top and bottom, 65. 67, and there you go. Thermostat's open, so I now know the water's circulated. There's loads of heat, there's been loads of heat coming from the matrix radiator all the way through this. Okay, now we can turn it off, let her cool down, and then see if our expansion tank sucks up any water. Make sure our coolant's good. I know it must seem horrible for you, the owner, seeing it revved like that, but actually, this isn't. You know, there are mechanics out there that will be very bad to your car and rev it so hard. And unfortunately, they were trained in the dark days of mechanics when there were carburetors and stuff like that. With modern fuel electronics, the engine's constantly going to fight you. It wouldn't matter whether you were doing 2,000 RPM or 5. It's not going to get any hotter or any quicker. It's just going to fight you all the time. It knows it's stationary with no load. So you might as well, all I did was 2,800 RPM, that one. Hold it at 28 RPM for about a minute. Pop.
Happy doing that. There's no problem with it.
Thanks for coffee.
It's not a troubled engine, is it? Never has been.
Yeah, we've waited about 15 minutes. And yeah, stick a torch in. Just needs a bit of water. Just top her up. Sorry for the overfill car. That's it. That was nothing, wasn't it?
The Yaris T Sport. That's been nice.
The way we...
The little rascal has fluid. As what, sir?
This is the end of the trail for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, kid.